Hello, fellow traders. Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Wednesday, April the 24th, and the year's 2024. Let's talk trading. How to, Part 3, with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and differ from Walmal's. Walmal, we ran out of time yesterday in Part 2.
We did. We certainly did. It was one of those days where, we were talking about a topic that just has so many different tentacles to it, and we could sit down in a room and talk about it for hours, but at some point, we have to go and just get down, as I said, what was that TV show, Dragnet, just the facts, man, just the facts. So,
Yeah.
and we were talking yesterday, I think a little bit about, I was just to recap a little bit, but we're talking about this whole idea that how to, right? In other words, how do you do this? How do you trade? Well, and I had said in the video, and I think you agree with me on this point, is that I can't tell you how to trade. Okay, the only thing I can say is I can tell you how I did it, and I can go and tell you how to go ahead and start doing it. And the thing that for me anyway, the thing that I did, and I think most successful traders do, is that they have a plan. So I can go and help you put together a plan, but I can't put the plan together for you. That's something that's you based. It's not me based. It's not TRO based. It's something that you have to put together. And somebody may go and say, well, is that a cop out answer? You just don't want to give the answer. You don't want to give away the magic golden egg, right? No, it's not, because the element of trading that we all get into, or we all have to go and face, is that every one of us are individuals. We're individuals, and we think differently. We have different experiences in life. We have different emotions. We're every one of us is built differently. You know, if some of you know that I have religious convictions, and I'll just go and throw one out there. In the Bible it goes and says that every person is uniquely made, and we are. We're each uniquely made, and and why, and you see that in life, because you have somebody face a crisis, have 10 people face a crisis, and 10 people are going to go and do probably 8 different things, just because of that we're just made differently. So why is that important to trading? Well, it's important to trading because when you're in a trade, there's an element of crisis there. Now, you shouldn't be in a crisis like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my account, I'm going to lose my house, I'm going to lose, my ability to eat. No, that's not that type of a crisis. More of you're in sort of like a war, because the situation is that I'm fighting against the market, and I need to go and follow the market and do what is best for me inside that environment of the market. And what I'll do is different than what somebody else will do. And I used the example yesterday that, some people, if there's a house on fire, they run out of the house. And there are other people, if the house is on fire, they run into the house to put the fire out, and there are other people who run out of the house and, may not hide, but actually go and call for help to get other people there to go and put out the fire. Well, you need to know who you are. What type of fireman are you? Are you the one that goes and gets the help? Are you the one that goes and brings the resources? Are you the one who actually runs in and does the dirty work and puts it out? And based on that, then you can go and make decisions as to what you're going to do so that you are protected and safe, and, the fire of the house goes out. Well, in trading, it's the same way. There are things that happen in the market. You can sit there. What are you going to do if all of a sudden the market, the bottom drops out, and it drops 30 pips or 40 pips, and it drops out because nothing on the chart. In fact, yesterday, I believe it was, there was a British, member, an NPC member, who went and gave a speech. It was yellow news. It was supposed to be completely inconsequential. and it moved the market up 40 pips on somebody who's never moved the market ever before. You know, if you were in that market, it was yellow news. You probably ignored it. You weren't going to go and get out. What are you going to do if the market moves 40 pips against you? No, or 40 pips for you. You have to look at both sides of it. And so what do? You have to go and put together a plan, and that plan is based on who you are. Okay? If you're someone who, immediately reacts poorly in a situation like that, well, you probably best get out. If you're the type of person who can go and weather the storm, then that's maybe your method. And the thing is, like that 40 pips, it moved 40 pips and went and rebounded almost right back to where it began. So let's say you had gone in at the worst time, you could have actually gotten out of your trade with, making a pip or two, but then again it rebounded and went all the way back up again. But the point is, if you're that type of a trader and you can do that and you can weather that, then that's who you are. But you have to have that built into your plan. I can't go and do that and weather 40 pip loss if I don't have the ability in my account to do that. So you have to go and write your plan. So, you have to go and figure out what your plan says in terms of what you're willing to risk on every trade. What do I mean by risk on every trade? How many dollars am I willing to go and lose on a particular trade? How much am I willing to put out there on the line? And that's going to go and determine your lot size going into a trade. Now, if you're willing to go and have it go 40 pips against you, well, guess what? More than likely, your lot size is going to drop dramatically, as opposed to somebody else says, well, I can only stomach a 10 pip move. I see those big candles, and they really start to scare the doo-doo out of me. And because I see that, then what am I going to go and do? Well, I can go and actually risk a little bit more, lot size. Why? Because I've got more money in my account to do it. Or maybe you get afraid of money, and you see big dollars move, and that's what really goes and throws you off. And that's another thing to go and look at as part of your plan. Some people like to go and just look at the pips, follow the pips. Every day, make sure I'm making a certain number of pips. And if I do that, I know at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, I'll be in pretty good shape. And that's just the way they do it, and it just works out well for them. Other people like to look at the dollars, and and by looking at the dollars or whatever your base currency may be, if you're, in somewhere in Europe, maybe it's the euro, you're looking at a base currency of the euro, or if you're in, London, you're looking at the pound, no matter where you are, you're looking at whatever that base currency may very well be. And you have to figure that out. For me, for instance, and I think, Kira, you can back this up, my trading got better when I stopped looking at pips. Yeah, I still have a goal of, a certain number of pips to make every day. But what I look at when I'm in the trades, I'm not looking at pips. I'm looking at dollars. I'm looking to make a certain number of dollars. And the pips, I look at it as if I'm able to do that, the pips will go and add up. And if the pips add up, then the dollars can add up. And that's just the way I look at it. That's just a little trick that I learned that helped me because of my personality. Because I'm cheap, I'm committed, I'm just one of the cheapest people you'll ever meet, and I don't like taking dollars out of my pocket. And so when I see dollars going out of my pocket, I react quicker than I would otherwise. If I just see pips going out, it doesn't, my brain doesn't make that crossover that, hey, that's real money coming out of my pocket. I see dollars up there. I see a red number, and I know that that's dollars. To me, that's much more impactful. So what does that do for me? It means that I become a lot more attentive as to what's going on in the market at that point in time, and I react to it, at a much quicker pace, and again, that's built into my plan to do that. I can't tell you if that's going to work for you or not, but that's what works for me.
You mentioned something, a side note. Remember you said you're in a trade and there's like a 30 or 40 pip drop. Remember, God, it's probably been maybe 4 years ago now, 3 years ago, when almost every day there would be a couple of events where there would be like a 50 pip move.
Right. Yeah.
And no news. and no news, and we haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, the market has seemed to, for whatever reason, has the volatility, those huge big moves like that, just don't seem to happen as much as they used to happen. And personally, I think that's a good thing because it, less chance of, yeah, it's great when you go and get them moving in your direction. But it seemed like to me, every time it happened, it went against me. I know there were a couple that actually went in my direction, but you're right. That's a definitely change in the market, and that gets to the whole idea of what I said, a couple weeks ago. The market changes, and when the market changes, you have to adapt and overcome it. And that doesn't mean changing your methodology or your strategies. It means that you may have to go and change or change your tactic within the market. And what does that mean? It means going out there and saying, "Oh, look at that! I got to move much quicker than this. I got to get out quicker." Or I can go and say, "Hey, let's say the market's going the other way. I can go and say, hey, I can stay in this longer."
Hey, you mentioned about your fib chart. You want me to put that up for the traders?
Yeah, we can go and do that. I think it was Friday or Thursday's video from last week. I talked about this whole idea of the fib chart that I had drawn way back in, I think, June of last year and of 2023. So it's from about a year ago, and how we have stayed within the bounds of that fib chart. And I had said on that video, hey, we're coming down to the 23.68 level, and that's a level that's extremely volatile, and the market reacts sharply there. And I had said that, hey guys, when it gets down here, and that level on my chart, I know you have that up, but let me go and put the exact, tell you what the exact price of that was. If I can get my silly little cursor working over here. But it was at 23.18. So at 1.2318, or actually 1.2319. The thing is that I said that it was going to come down in that area, and it probably maybe go down below it a little bit, but there's a good chance that it's going to go and come off of that. And look what happened yesterday. Well, actually, if you look at what happened on Monday, it went down, it crossed into that area, and when it crossed into the area, it went and put a really long tail on it. And then yesterday, it violently went up, no other way to put it. It violently went up, and even today, we spent most of the day in the red, but now we're, at least on my chart, we're now sitting there with a, with a slightly green day, and so it's interesting how, we talk about, different methods and so forth, but the reality is, like, the Fibonacci guys, they've got something there that works, I can't tell you, a method for trading it, but what I can tell you is that, hey, this is something that I observed over time, and these numbers mean things to certain people, and because they mean things to people, guess what? Price changes at it. It's sort of like if everybody in town thinks gas is too expensive at a particular gas station, nobody's going to go there. And even if the price goes down, sometimes people still don't go there because they have a thought in their mind, don't go to that gas station because that guy over there, he's expensive to go and buy gas from. So what it does is it takes something and turns it into a situation of reality, whether it's real or not.
Yeah, and you know what, fellow traders? We're down to the last minute here in the fastest 15 minutes of trading. And, maybe we'll have to do a how-to part 4 or answer a few questions if anybody out there has any about it. Because as I guess, as I've been telling people for years, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is TheRumpledOne, over and out.